It's time! Hi everybody, my name is Sydney. I'm a college student, aspiring journalist, and a double organ transplant patient at Children's Health. I've dreamed of having my own show ever since I was a little kid, when I first started a YouTube channel called The Sydney Show. Today, The Sydney Show gets a glow up, and it all starts now.
Presented by Children's Health. You're watching The Sydney Show. Here's your host, Sydney.
You would never know it when you first meet me, but 2 years ago, I was in the middle of one of the worst challenges of my life. Let me back up. I was born with something called hypoplastic left heart syndrome, which means the left side of my heart wasn't fully developed. I had 3 open heart surgeries before I was 4 years old. When I was growing up, I knew that one day I might need a heart transplant. But when? The signs came during my freshman year at college. Just walking around campus became exhausting. Then I noticed a sharp pain in my stomach. I came back home, back to Children's Health, where my care team decided that I would need 2 transplants for my heart and liver. On July 5th, 2023, I moved into the hospital to wait for my perfect donor match. Living in the hospital and waiting on a life-changing surgery is tough. I read a lot of books and taught myself how to crochet. Through it all, I held on to my faith, which gave me strength and peace during the wait. Today, I'm talking to the doctors and nurses that led the way and to my family that supported me through every step.
Coming up, hours into Sydney's transplant, her surgeon faced a critical choice: push forward or stop everything.
We felt like the best thing for you was to say, let's wait a little longer, deal with the disappointment in the short term.
Hear from the medical team that made it possible. Dr. Ryan Butts and Dr. Ryan Davies, next.
So, Dr. Butts, tell us about why I needed not only a heart, but also a liver transplant.
So, you were born with hypoplastic left heart syndrome, and you went underneath 3 previous surgeries, and the last one being what we call the Fontan procedure. That is basically where the surgeons, such as Dr. Davies, hooked up the vein that comes from the bottom part of your body, as well as the vein that's from your top part of your body. So all the blood went to your lungs completely passively. While this works for a period of time, it causes the pressure to back up in your veins into your liver. And eventually that causes your liver to stop working.
Yeah, I remember when I called my mom to come home from school, the symptoms that I was feeling, I've never experienced those symptoms before, so I knew this was going to be a bigger thing than I thought it was going to be. Hours into my transplant surgery, something unexpected happened. Dr. Davies, tell me about what happened and how you felt in that moment.
So when we went to start your transplants, everything looked really great. And because you'd had so many surgeries beforehand, we get started relatively early once we're kind of sure that the donor heart looks pretty good. But then in your case, and it's pretty rare that this happens, but every once in a while something like this happens, the donor heart started having electrical problems that we weren't able to fix. And so we felt like the best thing for you was to say, let's wait a little longer, deal with the disappointment in the short term, but so that we can get a long-term better outcome.
Well, honestly, when I woke up, I don't know how to explain it, but I knew that it didn't happen. And then thankfully I had my family around me, so they were able to keep my spirits high. And I just knew, everything happens for a reason. So that just wasn't the heart for me, and now I have the heart for me. 1 month later, we had a new donor, and this time he had the opportunity to use a really innovative piece of technology for one of the first times on a pediatric patient. Tell us more about it and why it was significant.
What we used was called the organ care system, but essentially it's a pump that keeps both the heart and the liver separately. Obviously, anytime we do a transplant, those organs are still alive, but by using those pumps, we can keep them getting oxygen and blood while they're out of a patient's body. So between the donor and your body, they can be getting blood and oxygen, and the advantage of that, there's several, but the big one is it eliminates some of the pressure of time. One of the things that we've really been trying to focus on is how can we make the best use of all of the donors that are out there to try to get as many kids transplanted as possible. And your story of the organ care system, of using those pumps, I think is an example, it's a great example of using those technologies to use organs that we might not have otherwise been able to use. In some cases, we can go, instead of only going 500 or 800 miles away to get a donor organ, we can go 1,000 miles or 1,500 miles. So that opens up a lot more opportunity for us to get organs for our kids who are waiting for transplants.
Yeah, and the nurse that was in the operating room, she sent my parents a video of the heart in the machine, so I was able to see it afterwards, like all the blood flowing through the machine and pumping to the heart. I was just like, that being inside me now for my old heart, and then I saw what my old heart looked like, and I was like, my old heart was so small and this new heart is so big. I was like, oh my gosh, it was really amazing to see. And each of you tell me how donations to Children's Health help young adults like me and kids.
So what we do in terms of taking care of patients with advanced heart disease like you had, and being able to figure out innovative ways to take care of them, takes time. It takes a huge team. That, plain and simply, takes money to develop such a team. But when we are able to develop a team like that and then use donations to further research, look back at our own data, look back, how can we get better? And over time, we're much farther advanced than we were 5 years ago. But that takes time and research and effort. And so those donations go to create the team that can do that.
We do stuff that no other hospital in the region can do, and that's important to have that resource. And our hospital's full, and so it's really important to have a bigger hospital to be able to take care of more kids, and do more things for all of those kids. And so the foundation, the money that the foundation raises, really helps across the board, ultimately with getting more kids doing better, and that's the goal.
After surgery, the hardest work begins, and sometimes family comes from the most unexpected places.
I remember, in that moment, it was just such a fun moment because I felt like a big sister to you.
Meet nurse Micaela Lyons ahead on The Sydney Show.
After transplant, what some people might not realize is the recovery is the hardest part. I had to relearn how to do everything, how to walk, even how to wash my face. Thankfully, I had a great rehab team and nurses by my side, like nurse Micaela Lyons. So, Micaela, I remember you told me to give myself grace. How do you motivate patients when they're struggling?
I think it's really important to just set short-term goals, realistic goals for patients. I think a lot of times patients think long-term and all the goals that they're wanting to do to get out of the hospital, but I think it's important to just set those short-term goals, and whether it's like getting out of bed that day and brushing our hair, taking a lap with PT, it's just very important to stay realistic and stay within that day.
I remember when I was in the hospital and we were talking about me going back to school and all the things that I want to do when I went back to school.
Yeah, I remember in that moment, it was just such a fun moment because I felt like a big sister to you, trying to give you advice, making sure you stay out of trouble when you go back to college, moving away from home and getting away from your parents, making sure you get good grades. I remember that was a really big goal that you wanted to achieve.
Yes, and I took the advice, stayed out of trouble, finished with a 4.0 this past semester, so doing big things. Yes. What sets Children's Health apart from other hospitals in the community?
One thing that sets Children's Health apart is that we have a great team that all works together: physical therapists, occupational therapists, the surgeons, nurses, child life specialists. We all work together to make life better for children. And we also have one of the best pediatric heart transplant organizations in the U.S. And so I think it's important that we provide the best care that we can for our pediatric heart patients.
Before Sydney was the star you know today, she was a little girl with the same spark.
Welcome back to the Sydney Show.
Next, meet the two people who've been with her every step of the way, her mom and dad.
You helped me start my first YouTube channel, The Original Sydney Show. How would you describe me as a little girl, and what were one of your favorite behind-the-scenes moments from The Original Sydney Show?
As a little girl, you were very much like you are now, very outspoken, very confident, very bubbly, full of positivity and light and love. You were very rarely seen without your big, beautiful smile. And I think my favorite one was when you started teaching people how to de-stress and relax by doing yoga. And you came up with your own yoga poses, your own mindfulness, breathing techniques before we even knew what that was. And you did it in such a charming way that you instantly became a hit.
Hi, And welcome back to the Sydney Show. And today we're going to talk about my awards assembly. I won the Star Student Award.
You were Naturals right when YouTube was taking off, so it was great to see your different episodes, and friends were calling in wanting to know when the next Sydney episode was, so it was great.
What has stuck with you most about those 88 days at Children's with me? Tell us about the care I received.
For me, I was so impressed with the nursing care, medical care, the nurses, the doctors, the rounding every day, the music therapy, just all the different support systems that the hospital was able to offer. And so being a part of the healthcare system and to see just the care we received at Children's, it was just phenomenal.
We Love My Old Hearts took me a long way. Now I have my new one, Hattie, who we love dearly. Yes, so how will the new Dallas Pediatric Campus that's under construction help kids and young adults like me?
We are so excited about the Dallas Pediatric Campus. When I think about the population boom, not just in the Metroplex, but across North Texas, and then thinking back to all of the other children and families we met from surrounding states and across the globe, I think about the tremendous impact on their lives and well-being by being able to have access to a world-class medical facility. I'm so excited to know that children, like you, who may have had to go through a long process in order to get recovery, would be able to receive that care that can hopefully have less time in the hospital so that they can have more time living.
It's been 2 years since my transplant surgery, and today I'm pursuing my dreams. This semester, I plan to finish with another 4.0. I'm active on my college campus, and I serve as the digital media director for a student-led TV and film production organization, a role I was honored to be chosen for. My surgery at Children's Health offered a path to pursue everything I want in life, and I've wasted no time to begin the next chapter. I'm thankful for the doctors, my family, friends, and generous supporters of Children's Health for giving me that gift. Stay tuned for what I do next. Thanks for watching The Sydney Show.